Hey guys, welcome back. Stay tuned for today's video. I'm going to show you how I made this painting of a hammerhead chasing a few mullet. Let's jump right into it. Alright, so we've got this taped up. Let's paint in the background. My reference photo is actually of a diver feeding a hammerhead. I didn't draw the diver in, as you can see. But I want to use the background from that image because I think it looks nice. And so it's kind of pretty shallow. There's some sand, and then it just basically fades off into a blue for the water. So that's what we're going to do. Let's put that in, and then we can remove the tape and paint the shark and the mullet. I've got clean water. I'm using my big brush. I say this pretty frequently, but the type of brush, the company that makes it, doesn't really matter. As long as it paints, it's a good brush to me. So I'm going to load this up with a lot of water. And we're going to work from top to bottom and try to keep a wet edge here. This is more of a technical technique. I'm sure I could have worded that better, but basically, because my table is slanted a little bit toward the bottom, if I pull a bunch of water up, it will go towards the bottom of whatever the section is, and the water will pool there. So I'm going to use that to my advantage to keep one wet edge running so that I can get a really smooth gradient here. So I'm going with like a teal blue, mostly blue, but there's definitely some other color in it. So let's get some of this sand color in here. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blue here, and I'm going to add some of this raw umber color. It's going to make it kind of green. That's fine. I'm just going to make it really wet. And this color will indicate some sand for me. Now we come in and darken up our blues a little bit more for our watercolor, and you'll see it blend together nicely. And I'm gonna also add little streaks of blue in the foreground, and that'll just be kind of indications of some undulations in the sand. Okay, we're close. I'm gonna just darken things up for a little bit longer, and then I'll come back when we're ready to pull the tape. Okay, that's our background. We're gonna pull we're gonna pull every side of the tape, and we'll just leave a little bit up here so that it doesn't go anywhere while we're painting on it. So I'll do that. We'll speed through that. So we lost a bit of our edge there. You can see what I did was I picked up as much of that color as I could. And when we get to this section where we're using the white pens, I will put a sharp line in that so that I can line it up properly. I'm gonna leave that little bit of tape up here just so that our paint doesn't move around, and we can get started on some of these fish. I'm gonna start with the mullet because they're smaller. It'll be easier to finish quickly. Mullet are silver, so I can just kind of put basically our watercolor in them. I'm not going to exactly do that. I have this purple color over here that I'm going to mix with, and a little bit of brown, and we're going to throw this color in to start. So we'll let that dry a little bit while we do some coloring on our shark. Now, hammerheads are gray, like most sharks. And they've got a white belly, also like most sharks. So in order to make this look white, it's going to actually catch a lot of that color that we have around it. I'm also going to make it a little warmer than the background, but it's still going to be pretty blue. It just is a slightly different kind of blue. So I'm just going to let this go over everything, and then I'll cover up the shadow parts in a very blue shadow. But while we're still here, let's add some more coloration to this guy. So I've got this dark section up here. I am going to add some blue to it. It's too warm for my liking right now. They've got a lot of darkness on their fins. There's obviously this top side of them and the tail. That is the darker gray color. And then we've got some of those details here as well. It's a little darker on the back side. I am now going to darken the tips of these fins. They're very dark. And we've got some really dark stuff in a couple other spots as well. So we'll pull a little bit of our black. If you've watched my videos before, you know I never just use black because that can kill the interest in a painting. It can make it seem very dull. So I always add a few colors to my blacks. This time I'm adding blue and purple. Those are pretty common colors for me to add to my blacks. But I want to get very dark here at the tip of the fin. Now for our shadows. I'm going to stick with this big guy, and we are going to put in basically the color of our water for these shadows. I'm going to make it a little bit darker, but when I put this in, you'll see it just gives it like it's not in the sun. It's catching light from the ocean around it instead. So we've got basically this whole head is in shadow. And here is where his body starts turning down. So all of this can be this blue color. This is going to be in shadow because his body is covering over it. I think I need to add some more darks to some of these sections, but I'm going to scale down my brush. We'll go to this guy. I use him all the time. I'm going to mix gray for the top side. So I think we lost some of that. I'm going to add some white pen detailing for some teeth indications here. So if I make the whole mouth pretty dark, that'll be okay. I can lighten some of it up later. Now we're going to do some more shadow work. Let's do some more work to these mullets. So let's move on to the pen stage. So I'm going to let this dry for a few minutes and I'll be right back. Okay, we've given it some time to dry. I have two pens that I typically use when I'm putting something white down. I have this Posca marker, which is a paint pen. It's a very thick tip, puts down a lot of color in a very wide area. And then I have this little white gel pen. It's much thinner, much finer detail. And so I will kind of jump back and forth between the two based on the size that I think I'm going to need for the situation that I'm in. For example, I'm going to do these teeth first. I can't do those with this big one. I'm going to have to use the small one. So let's go ahead and put in some teeth for this guy. You'll notice that I'm not going into crazy detail. I'm not drawing in the teeth perfectly. I'm just indicating them because it's not the most important part. I'm going to take my bigger guy now, and we're going to do some highlighting toward the top here. The sun obviously is above everybody in this painting, so our highlight sections are going to be toward the top facing side of each of our animals here. I like the way that it looks when you have those little light rays coming from the sun that make the shapes on animals where they're kind of like crisscrossy. I've got to pay attention though to which parts of him would actually catch those. So for example, all of this here is under his belly, which is covered up. That would not be catching any of that light. Back here, however, will. So I'm going to come in here and put a nice bit of light toward the top side of all of these surfaces. And this is in shadow, so we're going to avoid this, and we can add some crisscrossy shapes here. And you see that just kind of indicates that he's got some lights on him. I think it would help to push that even further if I darkened up this section here. So that's what I'm going to do. And I don't just want to use that color in that one spot. So I'm going to add it to a few other areas so that it makes more sense in context with the rest of the painting. Now, another thing I want to do here is I want to give these guys a look like they're moving through this space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some bubble trails coming off of some of these front-facing areas. Just want it to look like they're moving through the water, causing some bubbles to appear, displacing some of this water. While I'm here, I can add in that sharp line there that I talked about earlier. I'm also going to put in some highlights on the sand in the background. And I'm also going to put a few up here. Maybe I'm going to add a little bit more shadow in a couple of these spots. 1 second. Yeah, we'll call that there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let's zoom in and sign. We're going to go ahead and sign down here. We've got John Johnson II, and it is 2026. I can't believe I couldn't figure that out. All right, zooming back out. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this content, if you'd like to see more like this, if you think hammerheads are cool, if you have a better idea or another idea for an animal that you'd like to see me paint, let me know. Leave a comment, say something. It makes a big difference. Like the video, subscribe, ring the bell. All those things, they help to promote this channel. It shows YouTube that this is something that you find interesting. It'll show you more videos like this, and it'll show this video to more people. There's a box here that will show you a video that YouTube thinks you'll like, and a circle down here that has my signature in it that will take you to my channel. Thank you so very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next one.